Hello, my name is Shahzad, and in this video, I will be showing you the video of the uh, universe and the overall planets and black hole, and even as well as the moon title, which is the moon of Saturn. But I also will be showing you other moons of other planets in my second video. But without without further ado, we should begin. Now I'm making this video for the first time, since I've no experience of making those videos on my own. I've only watched videos of the solar system from other YouTubers and people, but for myself I'm making this video for the very first time. Now remember to feel free to please like and share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please also subscribe to my another YouTube channel, which is that's what from right now. Please subscribe to my other channel, which is in my description box below, and you know, my channel and my other channel is your all's favorite. Okay, then please remember to subscribe my YouTube channel and my other channel, which is in the description box below, which you can subscribe to. But you should only subscribe to my main YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe icon. But you should subscribe to my second channel from the description box below onto the page, and then click on subscribe there. And that's what you have to do. Now without further ado, we should begin. I've also made this document from copy and pasting from AI, and I've also dragged this table onto this depth because the table was very low for better view. I've also copy and pasted this from AI in order to I need this to understand of what the conditions and what their circumstances are of those terrestrials and gas giants. I'll show you that. I've also made this video yesterday on Saturday, and I've downloaded all the pictures from the internet, and I get it to help with AI, and I've get it to help with AI with this summary. Now, without further ado, we should begin. We have the sun, and we have the carbon belt with the belts, etc. But on top of the background, we have our universe evolution. We have the Big Bang happening over there on the left, and that occurred 8 billion years ago. No, not 8. Many billions of years ago. But I do not know the number because no, I do know the number. The Big Bang occurred 13.8 billions of years ago, and it expanded onto all of the way around onto our inner solar system. Now, there is also a chance that the Milky Way galaxy was also built here, since the long drastic evolution of the universe. And you can see here there's also been a first star invented, and in this picture you see all of the words here in the white text that helps you understand of what happened after and during the Big Bang. Now, the temperature of the Big Bang was very, very hot, but when we go towards the end of the universe, when we time travel to the future and the universe is ending, then temperature is going to be much more bone chilling cold compared to long before that time's Big Bang's hot temperature. And that's what you should expect when you learn about astronomy and about science. Okay, now I would play the video and I would show you what's in this imagining. You can see here there's also a red color, and then we have the black to pink, then to blue color, and there's also a mixture of the spreading colors of how the universe compounds. And the compounding colors is the most critical part for the universe to run and function as well. And it is currently expanding today. The Earth and our home planet Earth and the Sun and the Moon and the atoms and the stars are currently expanding and is moving steadily to the future. You can see here that I am in this location. We are all in this location with all of the universe in this location, and that means that I'm pointing through the purple area. I'm in this area, but even in even in the years 2000, 1999, and long before that, we were still no, we were fundamentally different. I think that we were in this, uh, we were closer to this, this angle of the universe. I'm putting some because it's not showing when I hover through the video. That's what we're going to be showing you hovering on the title bar on my PC, and how the universe expanded. Now we have all of the galaxies, we have all of the planets, we have all of etc. And we will play the video, and I will show you what's in here. Another most non-missable part of the universe is the gigantic black hole. Now this is going to be shocking for you at first who are not experienced to astronomy, and that's why I would be showing you what the black hole is. Now please, this is the evolution of the universe, and we have all of the terrestrial planets. We have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and we have the gas and ice giants, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and those planets is the most critical part of the solar system now. We're living in our home planet Earth, and you can see here those white like circle is the belts of how those planets orbit. Now these planets orbit around the sun normally, and they take, for example, Earth takes 1 year to uh, orbit the sun, while Mars, I think that Mars takes 600 years to orbit the sun. I also know that, but I need to still check it out of the correct length and duration. Jupiter has a dangerous radiation and is thousands of millions of times stronger than Earth's, and it could send a lethal dose to a human who's not as patched. There's also a function of Jupiter's great red spot. Now, it has a storm which is ranging and a storm which is hurricaning and screaming for centuries from now on. From the past centuries, the great red spot is screaming of hurricanes, and it's evolving its storms more often. Now, I've also saw on the internet that the Great Red Spot is also shrinking its vortex, and it's going to be weaker and rounder, weaker and rounder, weaker and rounder until it gets much more rounder and weaker as well. You cannot be able to bear to uh, visit it because you're demanding of you want to visit the today's Jupiter's Great Red Spot, but in that time, still in that time in the future, you cannot barely visit that. No, you would be able to barely encounter the Jupiter's larger great red spot since it's already been in the future. Your winter time has been decreased and it has been weakened and has been more rounder. And we have Saturn here. Now Saturn has its much extremely thin rings, and it has its own iconic hexagon. Now the rings and iconic hexagon both are much more highly iconic of Saturn, and now the Jupiter's gravity gradually increases as when you fall deeper into the planet. For example, you are swimming into a swimming pool and you are floating in the water, but when you dive into the pool, you will notice that you are simply sinking and floating. Uh, on obviously going to be apparently sinking when you are jumping into the pool, but if you are still diving without even jumping into the pool, you are still floating, and the temperature is very cold, but it will still get warmer as soon as you will adjust to the circumstances and environment of swimming. But the real factor is that you'll counter the similar pressure and the similar vertigos, etc., of when you were first diving in the water pool. Now, that effect will also penetrate to you when you fall into Jupiter, which is far more worse than that. Saturn is less worse, but it's still hostile for you, and it can also put that effect to your body, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your throat, everything. Your brain as well, your heart, your organs, your liver is going to be failing when you're going to be falling into Jupiter, which is much more dangerous and worse, or to Saturn, which is less dangerous and worse, but it has still bad radiation and it's still hostile for you, even with the less factor. And we have Uranus as well. Uranus is much more colder with minus 195 degrees Celsius, which is the average. Now the cold recorded temperature is minus 224 degrees Celsius. That's much more colder, and it's also water next because it's hydrosulfide air, and it's composed of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune is composed of hydrogen and helium. But the ice giants, the two ice giants, is composed of, you know, Uh, but the ice giant is composed of hydrogen and helium as well as 1 to 5% of methane, or 3 to 4% of methane. And last, we have Pluto. Now, Pluto is no, we have to continue on to the terrestrial planets events during this video, because during this part chapter. Pluto is the farthest planet from the Sun. Even though it still retains sunlight, it's much more colder with minus 270, no, minus 200 and minus 273. No, I forgot the temperature. Uh, no, I know the temperature. It's minus 200 and uh, 200. I was still call it 273 because I think that it's the average temperature of the planet. Because I need to check it out in Google about what is the correct temperature for Pluto. Okay, then remember that. Now Pluto was discovered in 18th of February 1930, and it was discovered in that year, and this will be orbiting the Sun until it completes its orbit on the 23rd of March 2178, and that is the time I will be elderly, and you're all going to be a grandfather, elderly, and an old man in that time. Okay, even if you're young today. And all of our electronics technology, etc., AI, IoT, etc., will be obsolete and highly out of date in that time compared to what those are secure today. They'll be out of date and obsolete in that time in the future. And we are moving to the terrestrial planets, with the extraterrestrial as well, with Mars as well. We have Venus, we have Mercury. And what about the moon? I forgot to show the moon in this video. Now this is Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet from the Sun. No, I mean to the Sun. Venus is the hottest planet, but is still closer to the Sun, but still a bit slightly far from the Sun. Earth, this is our home planet, and this is a bit closer. No. It's still far from the Sun, but it's still, you know, it's still getting a lot of sun heat and still getting closer to the Sun as it orbits. But even so, it orbits and the belts when it's closer to the Sun, it still cannot be passing through the closer to the Sun. Well, I think that is there. And Earth is our home planet. We have our I knew everything, but I forgot to show you this document. Mercury is 36 million miles, and we have Venus 67 million miles, and we have a home planet Earth 93 million miles from the Sun, and with Mars 142 million miles from the Sun. And this is the distance from the Sun average, and this is the surface temperature. We have the temp ranging for temperature, and this is 167 degrees Celsius, and the hottest, I think that no, the highly likely temperature it only can reach in is 430 degrees Celsius, but at night time it can reach the extremely cold 178 degrees Celsius. Similar, the same as Saturn as that, and its upper clouds. Mercury can also do that because it's colder in the night time. We have Venus, we have 67 million miles, And we have 464 degrees Celsius. We have 75.21 miles of the diameter. And we have negligible trace oxygen, sodium and hydrogen, meaning that if you're trying to breathe into Mercury from your Earth-based oxygen lungs in your human body, then you can die almost quickly. That's why it's dangerous for you. We have our now the Mercury's solar radiation and the solar winds can slowly strip your DNA as well, but it does not mean that you'll lose your family, you lose everything. You'll lose your family, you lose your country, you lose everything else. That does not mean that compared to the medical standard on Earth. Instead, it shreds or it strips your DNA away of. And again, that not means that you'll lose your family, you lose everything else in the traditional um, life loss sense. Instead, it is a completely different scenario, okay? Do not worry about that. We have Venus, and Venus is 96% of carbon dioxide, thick, high pressure clouds. And the pressure of Venus is 92 to 90 times greater than Earth's. And when you first walk into Venus, you noticeably find that you are floating and you are swimming. Now, I've also found out that walking on Venus, trying to do that, is like walking and floating, trying to swim and uh, do even treading water and do floating under 3,000 kilometers underwater, and that is the equivalent of Venus. We have Earth, we have our home planet, and this normal temperature of the average is 15 degrees Celsius. This normal room temperature of my office, and it's the 7,980 miles from the sun, and we have the 78% of hydrogen. No, hydrogen is far dangerous. I misspelled the name. It's nitrogen. I mean, it is nitrogen. Now I know it's nitrogen. 21% of oxygen, and we have 1% of argon. Now, Titan also have those air qualities of Earth, but it lacks oxygen and argon as well, which are both critical for us to survive, and among others as well. And my PC, my electronics, as an Earth needs to survive. But if I move myself and my PC, my family, etc. to Titan, none of my PC, my devices, my family as well, everything else, everything cannot function. They're all dead. We'll also die on Titan because we do not have reliable resources for our oxygenated spacesuits. But on Titan, the most amazing factor, the amazing factor you can do is you can strap your wings onto your chest, your shoulders well, then you can fly as a bird with flapping your wings on the sky of Titan. And that is what the most important amazing factor should be learned to know before you ever want to visit now Titan, the moon of Saturn. And you can see here, Titan also has, 100 to 90% of high nitrogen, and but the most important, or even what most people call it, significant factor is that Titan does not have free oxygen, and it does not have argon as well, 1% of argon. and but it still has abundant resources uh, like its surface and soils, etc., which can extract water and to refill the water with extracted titanium ice and etc. You can drink the water there, but there's also lakes. There's an interesting part of the lakes. They're in black in color. They're in brown and black. I think that because of the color. But however, they're not as black. They're different as well. And the drawback of Titan is the sun cannot penetrate the planet's sky. No, I mean the moon and planet's sky because it blocks 90% of sunlight and it is extremely thick and it has thicker atmospheres, but it's still relatively thin because of the pressure and the atmosphere is thin as well, but it's still thick in design and theme and experience. It's still relatively thick and it's much more hazier, brown or orange dull reddish. No, the reddish complex is only in Mars, but on Titan it is still hazy in yellowish orangish sky appearances, where its surface is orange as well. It can also block radiation waves, solar winds, etc. It can also stop solar winds, the most powerful radiation ever can, will be starting to strip this planet away. And it can also stop this issue with which Mars is currently having. But Mars is not severely impacted by those winds and etc. Instead, the both is still safe and secure. Okay, nothing true about those planets. Only it is stripping away Mars' atmosphere, still in the process. Uh, no, it's already been done in the past, long before today. Now, ancient Mars had a relatively thick atmosphere and liner and lakes, and I think that it also has oxygen. And it also has no, I do not. I think, or I do not think maybe it has oxygen when it was ancient Mars. That means that it has a blue sky as well, and you know it was relatively habitable for people to live in the planet. And next, we're going to move on to the temperature of Venus. Still, the temperature of Venus is hot enough to melt leaves, and it can also finish you for seconds when you survive, and it can boil you and melt you and burn you apart when you try to spend 20 to 30 seconds on Venus surface, and that what you'll be expecting on this danger of you, your life as well as yourself, if you try to manage yourself on Venus. Next, we're going to move to Mars. The average temperature is 65 degrees Celsius. We have 4,212 miles from the Sun, and it has minus 95% of carbon dioxide, very thin. Now, when you fast forward to Mars, you fall extremely fast, even does not have minus 2.0 gravity. It has the gravity maxing of 0.038 gravity, and that will make you relatively light. Similar to Titan, it has 0.014 degrees of gravity, which makes relatively light for you, which which you will be highly adapted to the wind. No, I mean the gravity, etc., the environment of those both planets, which makes finding Earth hostile for the rest of your life if you did not manage carefully. Mars is having a very thin atmosphere with 1% of Earth's pressure. That means the radiation is extremely high on this Mars planet. You need to build a underground lava box. I think no. I mean they need to build an uh, underground habitat made of lava tube or Martian regolith for you to survive. And you also need to have a heavily insulated space suit, oxygen free and pressurized and oxygenated mask, even though that same applies to the moon as well. Next we're going to move on to Jupiter. Now, one thing I forgot for you to hear that Mars is also going to be colonized by Elon Musk. I also explained that school, which on my Richmond Day, which I written down, I would support Elon Musk's 2050 colonization plan, which is 24 years from today. 2050 colonization plan, and that is what we're going to expect when we go to Mars in 2050. But today, however, they're still testing their Starship, SpaceX Starship based colonization spaceship. They installed a beta alpha candidate developing process of a Starship, and what we need to understand that. Next, we're going to move on to the gas giants. We have our planet Jupiter, which is 484 million miles, and the upper clouds is the top. The cloud tops is minus 110 degrees Celsius, and then that make but its high average temperature is minus 100 minus 150 degrees Celsius of the planet Jupiter, and the size is 86.881 miles. It's far from the sun this time and it's long. And the air is mostly hydrogen and helium. Same as Saturn is hydrogen and helium, but the temperature is slightly different. It's 140 degrees Celsius and far higher than Jupiter's. Now, the average high likely temperature of Jupiter is 150 degrees Celsius, and Saturn about is 170 degrees Celsius, and Uranus is minus 224 degrees Celsius, and Neptune is minus 210 degrees Celsius, or even minus 218 degrees Celsius. And you not land on a solid core on those planets if you even survive from a long period of time, for many days, many weeks, etc. If you survive that bare length, then you can reach the mantle and the core as well, but you will not be able to reach the core because it will be long made you a dead astronaut. And that's why you will not be able to reach the core as well of those planets. And Jupiter's pressure and Saturn's pressure can also increase, and the temperature will gradually increase when your density equals that with the environment. Because the suit is extremely high tech, then it can allow you to continue onto the abyss of those gas giants, which can theoretically, hypothetically survive on those planets. But in real life, it's no longer possible to see. And with Uranus, now Uranus is the coldest planet from the Sun, and it has 31 minus 131,500 miles from the Sun, with hydrogen, helium, and methane with ice giants. And the planet also, and Titan, even Titan as well, adds methane onto those ice giants planets. Now I would play the video and I will show you, I'll repeat my wordings again of how those planets uh, look like. Now the surface looks like. I've also added pictures of the Milky Way galaxy and the overall pictures of the planets and the surfaces in the atmosphere and the pictures of Mars, Earth, Venus, etc. And even the cloud tops, etc. And though they are not, they're still as a background, but I'll show you the video. And again, this is the Big Bang, and this is how the evolution looks. I'll pause the video again. I'll pause the whole video. Now this is the black hole. The black hole is also serves as a gateway for you to enter a different universe or a different planet, but I think there's a different universe. If you fall deeper into the hole, you'll be finding yourself a mirrorish portalish parallel portal, which it can allow you to, if you entered very low, you can then go back to the universe and go back to Earth, and it's kind of like. However, my cousin has stated that while that is highly likely to be possible, when you enter the black hole, is no point of, is there is no point of return. You can only one time enter the black hole. Now, the black hole is going to be stretching you slimly as you fall and you reach the entity equals over the gravity and environment of the black hole. When you enter that, you'll be entering to spaghettification, and the output is going to be very strong. And when you put 1 feet first, you'll feel infinite force of gravity, then you'll feel into the black hole, then you'll also counted stones, etc. And it's going to be extremely cold in a black hole, and that will going to be counter. And you also counter that as you pass through the event horizon of the black hole. And this is the planet Mercury. Now this is the round shape of Mercury. Now the scientist needs to expect that all the planets have a round shape, and it meets the success criteria of meeting the recommended orbital size and gaps and equations, etc. Pluto is the only one who listens to those demands, but is no longer classified by planets since 2006 because the planet Pluto needs to be one orbiting the Sun, two making itself clean, three round shape, and the number four, it needs to be in its space area. It needs to have its own space, but Pluto does not. That's why they removed it from the list. In the past, we had 9 planets, but today we have 8 planets. And a black hole again, and this is the real actual surfaces of the planet Mercury. And you can see here there's also dust and rocky surface, and there's also a thin flat canes similar to what you will encounter in cartoons. You can see that canes are also visible here, since they're not since they are consumed of dust and composed of dangerous oxides of those uh, negligible oxygen air of Neptune. And the overall surface color is grey with tiny dots and with tiny of dust particles, etc. The age is going to be also slightly different on Neptune. No, I mean on Mercury. You would be 150 years old on Mercury when you go for that. Or depending on your age, you're much more older. You'll be 190 times older than your age. When you or 80, 70 times, 60, 55 times older than your age. When you or even 30, 40 times older than your age, or 90, 80 times of the older than your age. When you try to land a Mercury, depending on your age, depending on your birth, depending on your birth when you were born on Earth, you'll be also be much more older than Mercury. But it will not physically change you, instead it will change your age when you start to live in Mercury for a short period of time. Or, however, it's dangerous because it will be much more fatal to you. And this is the analytics of the black hole, and this is the event horizon. This is the radius when the second retrieve where matter and energy cannot escape the black hole's gravity. You should also know that this is the point of no return. This is the black part of the black hole. And when you reach the event horizon, you will no longer return back to the space and to float to Earth. You're no longer to do that. Instead, you will need to live in the different atmosphere here. However, you're alone, you lost your parents, you forgot to move, you forgot to bring your parents, etc. However you feel sad, however you feel to cry, and how you feel angry when you lost your parents and you find no point of sin, you still have to go there and you have to live the rest of your life there. And that's why if you want to go to the black hole, I recommend that you buy a robust space. No, not to buy, I mean. You need to obtain a spaceship and a spacesuit, which can go to the black hole, and you can go to the black hole there. Now this is the proton sphere. Now that is glowing light, and that is mixture of light blues, which is my favorite, which are red, yellow, and orange as well. When you fall into that with the relativistic jet, which is similar to an LED light beaming onto laser light, and does has that. We have Venus here. Now Venus looks like this. Now Venus is the most hostile to us all, and but the interesting facts of Venus is Matt Mons, which we'll encounter the surface picture in this video. And this is the entire planet Venus. This is the analytics of Venus, and this is Venus is often visible to naked eye in the morning and evening sky. It is also be called as a main twin because with similar science was slaves discovered that environment was quite inhospitable. Then that means that you cannot live in Venus, which is much more hostile. Venus also has a weak magnetic fields, and it also has high emission radiations, even though it's a thick atmosphere. It has 36, no, 96.5% carbon dioxide, 3.5% nitrogen, plus trace gases. And you can see here, there's also a person who is two groups of persons. We have one Earth, we have one Venus. Now, the person is quite tall and upward high in the air, a bit slightly high in the air, thing like that. But on Earth, it's still on the ground, with arrows pointing low and high. And Venus is 11 feet, Earth is 10 feet, and gravity is 0.9 of Earth. And you can see here, this is the planet of global Venus, and this is the core, and this is the mantle of Venus. And this is the picture. Now we have a lightning storm over there on the right, and and this is the yellow thick hazy sky over there, and we have the solar surface, and we have the rocky mountain surface. We have the volcanic band rock surface of the planet Venus, and this is how the planet looks like when you first in person see the planet Venus, while in the spacesuit which is protecting you, and in the spacesuit which is helping you to protect yourself from dangers if you see this in person. Now we have the map Mons. Now with that we have the map Mons landscape, and this is the hellish landscape Venus, but still relatively nice because of its appearance and size of the mountain, etc., and the color. But however, it's hellish due to its impact. Even if you love it, even if you like it, like I do, because of its image. But however, if you walk over there, it's quite an hellish experience of Venus because it's hot enough to not lead, and it's carbon dioxide dominant atmosphere, and the planets, and it's still hostile for us to live in. And this is our home planet Earth. This is the planet which we live in, and this is the planet which I'm filming this video in my office with my PC, my laptop, etc. on this planet. And I'm also planning a visit to Beijing in 2040 when I'm going to be 29 years old still on this planet, and it has clouds, etc. And My cousin, my family, etc. live there, and etc. We have oceans there. We have a veterinary centers there. A veterinary center with Saturn on Sea Beach, and we have signal tower with signal towers which we help from the internet network and the radio communication towers. Signal towers. We also have 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, but 2G is decommissioned. No, 3G is decommissioned, but 2G is still there for its nearly final time for life. 2G is there. And we have clouds in there. The clouds can be uh, thicker and hiding the sun. Now this is the actual surface of Earth, and this is the cloud tops of Earth, and this is the map of Earth. We have 8,004, 2,000, 2,000, minus 8,000. We have the satellite of Earth orbiting the Earth and is entering the Earth as well. Now we have Mars here. This is the planet of Mars, and it has 0 population. And if you all enter the planet Mars, my subscribers, you and even I will be of 100 to 1 million to 1,000 population of Mars. And this is the actual surface of Mars. You have Jupiter as well, and this is the great red spot, and this is the cloudy like appearance. This is a much more larger planet than the fifth planet from the Sun. And this is the swirling clouds, and this is the atmosphere which we're looking at. This is the preview of how you fall into Jupiter. Now you fall into the planet, you'll pass through theta radiation. Next you'll fall into the deep ammonia ice crystal clouds with estimated of minus 150 degrees Celsius. The sunlight is still there, but it's not be able to really warm you because it's going to be very cold. And it's going to be turning to beige, brown to orange, dull like, but pure orange, reddish brown like spirits, like colors. Now clouds begin to fade away, and we have the green monocytic ice cloud. Now we have this is the green dioxide clouds which you encounter, which is hydrosulfide style clouds. When you fall into them, the atmosphere is going to get darker, pitch black. You will encounter more and more forms of lightning with clouds in front of you, and it will be much more thousands of times greater when you will be facing the risk of electrocution, and you will be dead almost instantly when you fall into Jupiter. And you would first fall to this